Raise your finger and wiggle that finger in the air. As you wiggle that finger, ladies and gentlemen, you have set in motion every atom in the universe. Every atom in the universe. Wow, all that power in just one tiny finger. Just by wiggling that finger, you are tickling every atom, not on this planet, but in the whole universe. Now, if you could wiggle your finger and do that, imagine what happens when you shake your head or nod your head or clap your hand or cough or shout or open your mouth to speak or declare the word of the Lord. Listen closely. Don't you ever think, anytime you open your mouth to speak, don't ever think that those words are just empty air. Every time you open your mouth to speak good or evil, you are causing an affectation in the universe. Every time you speak, you upset the balance of the universe. And so when you speak good, you cancel out evil. When you speak blessing, you break curses. When you speak victory, you overcome defeat. No word that you speak goes to waste. No word that you speak falls to the ground and manifests as nothing. You are a man of power. You are a woman of influence. I need you to get this. This is the foundation. You have to get this. This is not a nice message just to pep you or prop you up. This is the reality of eternity. This is the reality of your essence and your purpose. You are a man of power. I don't care what anybody told you. The devil has arranged people all your life to speak you down, to put you down, to speak words that diminish you. But I come in the name of the Lord this morning to declare the truth of God to you. You're a man of power. You're a woman of influence. You are not a non-entity. You're not a nobody. You are not inconsequential. My goodness, if you were inconsequential, you will not be here. God is not a time waster. Why would he waste time making you if you were not important? You are here because you are important. Tell somebody, my influence is irresistible. You've got to get it. You've got to get it. Settle that in your spirit. Oh, I'm just struggling and trying to get by. I just want to survive. Stop that nonsense. You are a messenger of heaven. You are an ambassador of heaven. You're an emissary of heaven. Listen closely. Listen. The entire universe has been designed in such a way that every tiny movement affects the entire universe. How many of you know just the way I wave my hand right now? Where you're sitting, you didn't feel anything. If you were close enough, you will probably feel a whiff of breeze. Am I talking? Now, even though you don't feel it, just the wave of my hand affects the entire universe. Scientists call it the butterfly effect. What do they call it? Why do they call it that? Because when a butterfly flaps its wings, think about how small, how feeble a butterfly is. When a butterfly flaps its wings in the south of France, it sets in motion environmental circumstances that months later can cause a monsoon in India. A butterfly. Ladies and gentlemen, a butterfly. If a butterfly can do so much, now imagine what you can do. You who are made in the image of God after his likeness. Tell somebody, my influence is irresistible. Don't ever doubt it. You have immense power. The disciples of Jesus said to him, Master, he was going to Jerusalem, passing through Samaria. The people of Samaria didn't want to know. They didn't want to receive him. James and John, the sons of Zebedee, also called the sons of thunder because they were quick-tempered, said, Master, should we call down fire to destroy them like Elijah called down fire? He said, you don't know what spirit you are of. He said, you have no idea how powerful you really are. Are you hearing me today? Listen to how Madiba Nelson Mandela put it. He said our deepest fear is not that we are inadequate. Our deepest fear is that we are powerful beyond measure. My goodness, they may shackle you in physical chains, but they cannot bind the power that dwells inside you. They may dismiss you and tell you to sit down in a corner, but nobody can dismiss the power that dwells in you. The power that created the whole universe lives inside you. Are you hearing me this morning? I want you to consider these truths today. Two of them. Number one, when your life touches another life, potentially that life is changed. In fact, potentially your both lives are changed. Number two, when your life touches another life, potentially the whole world is changed. Can you handle that? Just in case you didn't get it, I'll repeat those two truths again. Number one, when your life touches another life, potentially that life is changed. In fact, potentially your both lives are changed. Number two, when your life touches another life, potentially the whole world is changed. I'm going to illustrate those points with a story, and this is a true story. If I mentioned the name John Howard in this room, that name will probably mean nothing to most, if not all, the people in this room. But let me tell you about John Howard this morning. John Howard was an Englishman who lived near Pretoria in South Africa. But at that time, it wasn't called South Africa. This was towards the end of the 19th century. It was called Transvaal. The date, ladies and gentlemen, of which I speak was the 13th of December, 1899. That's just a bit over 110 years ago. It was right in the middle of the Boer Wars. Boer, B-O-E-R. That's the name they called the Dutch settlers in South Africa. This was a war between the English and the Dutch. They called them the Boer Wars because there were two of them. Now, there was a young English journalist, a young man. He was a war correspondent for the Daily Telegraph here in London. He had just escaped from the Boer prisoner of war camp, and they were chasing him in hot pursuit. He was running for dear life. He arrived at the door of John Howard, and he knocked the door and sought refuge. John Howard took this man in, looked after him for a week, and then helped him to escape back to Europe. Little did he know that this seemingly insignificant act of kindness would one day affect world history. How did it happen? Well, this young journalist got back to England and he published his story. The story was so gripping that newspapers around the country took it and published it. And then newspapers around the world began to carry the story. And all of a sudden, this young man was propelled into international fame. On the back of that, he entered into British politics. This young man would later go on to become one of the most significant prime ministers that this nation ever had. You and I know him today as Sir Winston Churchill. Ladies and gentlemen, I have a question. What if John Howard had not been there to rescue Churchill? What if the day Churchill knocked on his door, he said, I don't take in strangers? There would have been no Churchill to champion the victory of the Second World War. And Hitler would not have been defeated. Maybe you and I will be speaking German today. Tell somebody, my influence is irresistible. You have no idea how far-reaching the little things that you do from day to day can be. Let me say it again. You were placed on this planet to make a difference. And I dare you this morning, don't die until you make a difference. Whether you realize it or not, you are a person of influence. Every day of your life, you are influencing people, even when you are not conscious of it. If your life in any way whatsoever connects with other people, then you are an influencer. You are. Jesus said you are the salt of the earth. He didn't say you might be. He didn't say try to become. He didn't say if you pray hard enough,